I'm surprised that Dave didn't make it. I know he likes these discussions.
He might be across the street.
Might be politics. Yeah, he's out politicking today. No, he's trying to get some kind of presentation ready because he's supposed to do a presentation for his county commissioners for some stuff that they got coming.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Gates County Board of Commissioners special called meeting. I'm Emily Truman. I serve as the 2026 board chair. I'm joined by Vice Chair Nathan Berryman, Commissioner Jonathan Craddock, and County Manager Scott Sauer. We could ask Commissioner Berryman if he would mind doing the pledge and prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here tonight to conduct the county's business, and we ask that you give us the wisdom and the patience and the understanding as we work through those agenda items that we have on the list tonight. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First off, I will apologize for our slight delay. Had a mixed up couple of weeks with everybody in my house sick and all the things, so I went to the wrong location to start the meeting at first. But we are here now, so I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to County Manager to bring us into what our discussions will be today.
Thank you. We'll start with a brief PowerPoint. Just a reminder, these are all the live projects that the board currently has on its agenda. The next slide shows your water system and pipe dimensions. And we've got this set up so folks can get it online as well later on. The next item, you've got a handout in front of you. This is really the guiding priority list for us. And you'll note the one that I handed out to the commissioners has a few highlights, and we'll walk through those in detail. But we are just about to see the rubber hit the road. Can you hit the next? I believe we reported recently that the pilot testing for the reverse osmosis began a few weeks ago, and that's part of the, what do you call it, a train, Brad? Yeah. But that was installed maybe a week ago, 10 days ago, something like that.
February 3rd.
Yeah. And if you want, there's another one. On that far right, that's, I believe, Mr. William Cook with Cook Electric, who helped us with some of the electrical. I think there's just one more shot. And I think we've got two more trains coming in. Is that the correct?
Two more technologies. We got the bone char, and which is a function of a carbon absorption technology, and the other one is activated aluminum. And those are supposed to ship out first of next week. They've got a long waiting time on those with the weather and everything up north. All this came out, the RO came out of Florida, and it was over in Chowan County, doing a pilot over there. And so we told them about this project, so they held it open before they took it back to Florida. So okay. We got priority on that. So we've had that up and running in almost 2 weeks.
Now, if you'll roll to the next one. When the board was last together, we talked about some work out at well number 2, which will soon be 2A when we push farther back in the woods. We were fortunate to find Mr. Brad Roundtree available. And I think he's been hard at it since about Friday, late afternoon. We've got a couple more photos. But they've got the fence down. They've pushed back a little bit past the 45-foot boundary. We're not going in to take out all the trees. We're just trying to leave some room on the back side for cutting grass or bush hogging, whatever. And Brad was explaining to me earlier today, that's some very soft land up there.
I come out there a while ago and saw.
They've done all they can to firm things up for us short of laying concrete or one of those logging mats on top of the ground. Might have one more. Yeah, just keep rolling through those if you would. And this is the recorded survey that Green Engineering helped us on, and County Attorney Pitt Godwin helped coordinate for us after the board's action at our last meeting. And I don't know that we could have moved that any quicker than what he was able to accomplish that day. So if you'd go back to this one. And I'm going to ask that Green Engineering help out wherever necessary. We've got 4 projects that are advertised right now, and these were the ones that were described to the commissioners as being bundled. It's all of your line projects, the 2 directional bores, and then the 2 lines that will ultimately put all together the transmission to get down toward Ashton Lewis. You want to come up, Leo?
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Scott was saying, that the first water transmission project is actually out on the street. There is a bid date scheduled for Thursday, March the 12th here. Next Thursday, February 26th, I believe that's next Thursday,
Yeah.
we will have a pre-bid conference held here where we've invited all the contractors, the plan holders. Typically, you'll have a supplier that will show up to where we will discuss the project with the prospective bidders. It is not a mandatory meeting, and give them the opportunity to ask questions. Give them an opportunity if they have any particular questions about something out on the project's location. We'll leave once the meeting is over, we will go out and we will ride the project with them, go to any location they may have. My guess is if they have any questions, it's probably going to be on the directional boards. Sometimes they like to go, sometimes they just like to get back home, or get back to work. Anyway, so finally we'll be opening bids, hopefully with 3 bidders in 2 weeks. I think Rodney had provided a list, but what we do when we put a utility project out for bid, we've kind of got a master list that we keep of folks that have bid our work over the last 3 years, similar jobs. And that list has grown to about 25 people, not just folks that have asked for plans, but have actually put a bid in. And currently, there are, out of that list, there are 5 contractors that have requested plans. Doesn't guarantee they're going to bid it. It's Metra Industries. Believe it or not, they're out of Little Falls, New Jersey. They're picking up plans on a lot of our projects over the last couple of years, but they haven't been the low bidder on one yet. I don't know if they've probably got a local office, but anyway, Metra Industries, TA Loving Company has picked up the set, T&H Construction, Whitehurst Sand Company out of Hereford, and Timberline Construction. And I actually spoke to Kenny Smith with KBS Construction. He's out of Pikeville, used to work for TA Loving for many years. Great utility contractor. We spoke to him today, actually driving up here. He has received it and is considering it. He just hasn't picked up plans yet. And that's kind of where we stand on that project. And again, it's what that's the overall project that we're lumping in, the 2 directional bores and what we're calling the highway 158 transmission and the line coming through town to the lumber mill. Any questions on that project? It's moving forward. We haven't really received any questions yet.
If we get less than 3 bids, is it state mandated we have at least 3? Or what's the next step if that doesn't happen?
If we come here Thursday, 3 weeks from today, or tomorrow, and there's less than 3 bids to open, we will not open any of the bids. We will turn around, re-advertise. I think it's only for 7 days, but typically we'll have no more than 2 weeks. Once that project has been re-advertised on that subsequent bid date, even if one guy shows up, you can open the bid.
Okay.
But you've got to have 3 the first go-round. So whether it's the first go-round, hopefully it will be, like I say, we're making an effort to get the word out and the interest up. Once it is bid, we will prepare a bid tabulation. The contractor is required to provide certain documentation with his bid. So, we'll take the low bidder's information. There are 3 or 4 things, again, he has to provide. He's got to provide his minority documentation, his minority business solicitation documentation, a handful of other things. We turn around and send that back to the state. You will actually have to pass a resolution of tentative award. All of that, again, will go to the state. They'll review it to make sure everything was compliant with the bid documents, and then they will issue what they refer to as the authority to award, A to A. Once that is received, we send the contract documents to the contractor. He gets his bonds and his insurance certificates, gets them back to us. Penny books them up. We bring them up here for you guys to sign, and we award it, have a pre-construction conference, and turn the contractor loose. So that is, and now with the SL 134 money and these other, that's the way they're doing it. It used not to have to go back through that, to give you the authority to award. But anyway, that's the way it is now, and it's not taking too long. But I foresee somebody starting construction early summer, late spring, early summer.
Okay.
By the time we go through all that time frame.
And the projected completion dates are up to date. They gave us,
Yeah, and
Corrected
I will
estimate.
point out, there are a lot of dates on this handout that's got it prepared. Those dates were basically the milestone dates provided in your letters of intent to fund. It's just not something we kind of reached out and grabbed. This is kind of by what the state set out. So you'll notice the anticipated completion is May of next year. I mean, I think you'll be done way before then, but that's kind of the deadline they've set, so that's what we've used.
Yeah.
Kind of a worst case. So that's where we are with that project. I'll go ahead and take the 2 schools, pump stations and force mains together, because they are tracking the same. All of those have been permitted. I believe we've received the DOT encroachment agreement, we've received the plan approval for the sedimentation erosion control, and we've also received the fast track sewer application permit. One last thing on the erosion control is what they call the NCGO1. It's a stormwater permit that kind of is tied to the erosion control. That's got to be obtained prior to you going to construction, and I think that's something that Scott will fill out. He's got to, and he's got to submit it. It's the way it is. We can't mail this stuff in anymore now. The owners have got to submit it. But, and all that documentation, with the plans and the specs and the permits has been uploaded back to the state, and we are anticipating what they call their plan and specification approval letter. I would say any day, but probably any week now. Once that is received, we put an ad in the paper for those 2 projects. I would strongly recommend that we're going to have to bid them separately, because the money's coming out of two different project numbers, and those are clean water SRF projects. And same process. We get that, we go to bid. And the difference is with the clean water SRF projects, once those come in, you'll have to schedule your meeting with the
Local Government
Local
Commission.
Government Commission to go up there. They basically approve the loan. This was a combination of loan grant, various amounts for each project. Once that's done, then you get the authority to award and we'll turn those two loose. But I strongly recommend bidding those at the same time, again, for some economies of scale. Don't know, we haven't looked into it, but the more I think about it, we probably need to. Kind of, it can be easily bid and kept separate, but bid as one contract, but we would probably need to get permission to do that. If not, definitely bid it at the same time, so it gives somebody an incentive to come up here and say, I'm going to
Two projects.
run the chance to get both of them. So that's kind of the thought behind that, but that's where we're on those. Those are, we'll be advertising that, I would hope by mid-March. So everything's done.
I just have one question. And this is my understanding of the reasoning behind this in the past, so I'm just trying to get that understanding. We have two schools right now that have the sanitary force main that's going to be brought into it. Is there a reason why we didn't do the third one? Okay. That was before my time, so I'm curious.
Well, we had to prioritize projects.
Yeah.
And we give our best chance to maximize the grant was the Buckland and the TS Cooper because of the failure rate that they had. So we spun, took the dice, and threw the dice, and we elected to go that route. And that was strictly for funding strategy. And plus the expense of the Gatesville school could have been a little bit more. In our planning, we're still looking for funds to develop a central wastewater system in the Gatesville area.
Yeah.
Because the board, the county board has met with the county board. I can't remember when that was.
Yeah.
What would this occur?
It was 2 years ago, January, I
Yeah, it
believe.
was 2 years ago.
It had expressed a serious interest about that, so we are looking. In fact, I talked to one of our funding specialists today. There's some new legislative information that Congressman Davis has sent out, and we're following up on that. Sewer in Gatesville is going to be expensive, and we knew one way to hold that cost down is when we find the right package, we could put a pump station and a force main that'll address the school, and then Gatesville will tie on to that.
It'd be kind of a central collection
Okay.
for the town residents.
These loan and grant applications that we do are very, very competitive. So, some of it's intuition, on our part, knowing when to strike, and then sometimes it's just pure raw luck. You're competing against another political entity, and something happens on their score sheet, they claim a point, but they can't back it up, and you move up a level. So we try to encourage, and Brad and Scott are very proactive in trying to do all the administrative things from a management standpoint to put y'all in the best position.
Yes.
Just as well as you can.
If we're going through, so we're going through consolidation of our school systems and all that kind of good stuff. And would it help us on the scoring system for that particular project if we make it all part of we're consolidating schools and we want to make sure that the Gatesville school has sanitary schools?
The real key here on funding on these wastewater projects is if you've got an environmental justification.
Okay.
And we had perfect ones on these two schools.
Yeah. Okay.
And that just elevated it up. The consolidation is not a bad thing, but you're not gonna get any points on that. Where you will get points, if Gatesville already had a system and it was running poor and they wanted to get out of it, they wanted to merge with the county, you do well with that. So you don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, no, okay.
That's a good question. Thank you.
Is the wastewater at that school treated just like it is at the other two with an on-site permitted system? It is? Okay.
They actually discharge into the basin, out of that research lake field.
All right.
All right. Thank
You
you.
want to touch on the honey pot wastewater?
All right, we'll move to the,
Because that's the other one that has borrowing involved.
that is correct. We are on your original existing wastewater facility with the lagoon and spray field. We are this close to finally getting our permits. So Jessica has been back and forth with the state daily. It's kind of thrown for a loop with the, now we're proposing because of the condition of the soils that are out there, it's partial spray, and the other other portion of the disposal is going to be through a subsurface drip system. So it's a combination, and I think now they're down to discussing the location of a monitoring well and a compliance boundary. So we feel like we are within earshot of getting the permit for that, which will be followed by the plan and spec approval letter and the bid. I'm gonna say you probably, based on the emails I've been reading or been copied on, maybe 60 days out from getting a plan and spec approval letter or putting an ad in the paper.
Okay.
But it's been a trek on that one, just because it's just different.
Yeah. Now,
That's where we are on that. If you have anything you want to add.
What,
Just on the land application, lagoon, drip system.
email it, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more optimistic. It won't take 60 days to get the permit. We pretty well got everything.
Well, I bet the plan and spec approval letter is, which we're gonna get after we get the permit. But yes, I mean, I don't want to say next week.
oh, yeah, I get it.
You know,
Under promise, over deliver.
Conservative's good, yeah,
we
conservative's
waited
good.
long enough, another 30 to 60 days is not going to.
Yeah.
We're dependent on their making that call, and we're close.
Is your thoughts maybe because it is so close together is to take those three projects and lump them into one and say, here you go? Or is it just one so much more specialized than the other two run it with just, running the
I think you're going to have a different contractor working on the two school jobs as you are on the site work, personally. I mean, there are some companies out there that, the same people that are going to bid the two school projects, or the same guys that are going to bid your water project.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of those guys probably not going to bid your wastewater plant project.
Yeah.
There are some folks out there, the TA Lovins, some of these other guys, if a Hodge were to come up here and do it, they could do both of them, but I think the plant work is just specialized enough that it's not going to interest your utility guys.
The plant work is normally complex. It's classified more complex than typical pipeline. But you do, like Leah said, you have some contractors that are disciplined in both.
I think you would scare more people off than you would attract them if we found a way to kind of put it all together.
Okay.
Now, hopefully, if this comes together, we can set up the bid schedules such that you take all three to LGC at the same time. And that will be a time saver. And I think that's kind of been our goal all along. But we're at the mercy of when the state issues those permits. But it should shake out that you'll be able to go to the LGC with all three projects at the same time.
Okay.
And we've had some preliminary communication with the state and the local government commission about our projects. The trigger for them is we need to see your audit. And of course, the audit's being presented this evening, but they want the most current
Yeah.
financials, so that's the FY '25. So
Okay.
Williams already started on the paperwork for the application, I think has it finished, so it's coming together.
Okay.
Now, do we have to take low bid out of, when we, we get everything sent out, comes back in, are we required to take the low bid on each one of them? Or can we look at them and say, okay, this combination with these guys puts them better than this combination with these guys?
I would say if they're bid separately as two different projects,
Okay.
without
gotta
good
look.
justification,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to take the low bidder. That's a question we've been asked before, and,
Yeah, it gets a little sticky
remember
wicket.
one time in the last 30 years where the owner did not go that route,
Yeah.
and he was quickly, or they were quickly, contacted by the guy's attorney.
Yeah.
So, unless you can, unless they're non-responsive in their bid, they didn't provide the bid bonds, or they, or some other reason, they didn't acknowledge the addendum, you don't read their bid, you kick them out, but sort of, yeah. Now, if we could find
Save
a
the
way,
money.
if it were possible to find a way, again, to bid it as one contract, two parts, kind of like we've done this as one contract, four parts on the water system, with money coming out of separate pockets at the state, then that might be something good to look at, because then you are dealing with one bidder.
And that was my thought is, somebody like a TA11, right? They're capable of doing everything that's on this list here. And they submit bids for everything that's on this list that we're going to have over the next few months, right?
Right?
If if somebody like that was to come in high on one but significantly lower on the other, it would be better off for the county to have one contractor to work with through the course of this entire thing. And so that was only my question there.
And I think, what I'm hoping, and it would make sense, but you never know, you're gonna have a contractor, whoever that may be,
Yeah.
on this water line job, that he's gonna be up here. And then two more jobs, and then where it's more than, well, cost-wise, half the project is gonna be nothing any different than he's doing with the water line. He's just laying the same pipe, but it's gonna carry sewer.
Yeah.
So I hope, if we can get all these on the street, while somebody's still up here, it's just to the benefit of the project, the budget, and the county.
Exactly.
So these contracts have mobilization costs that line on the contract, so what he's referring to, contracts already against county, then he's got the edge on the next contractor, because you don't have to charge additional mobilization.
That's right. Yeah.
So he would lower that cost.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for me because I do a lot of private work, but like, for instance, the Port 460 project that we're doing, we got all of our mobilization costs and all that already paid for the first building that we've done, and now we're ready to start the third building.
It's good in theory.
Yeah, it is.
We'll know when we open the bids, and you would think that would be the case. I mean, because, most of these guys are charging between $20,000 and $35,000 on their mobilization. That's just something he doesn't have to pay on that next one.
That's right.
And again, it gives him a $30,000 head start. I mean, that's the way we think about it.
Yeah.
Is that the way they're gonna bid it? We hope so.
Can you speak to the water tank? Because isn't that
That's
moving?
next on my list. Water tank, those plans, everything's been done, the site surveys have been done, the geotechnical has been completed, our specs and are complete. The plans are on my desk to be redlined, and we've talked with a single tank manufacturer. Again, there are not many of them out here, and none of them are local. We're going to have a demolition of the existing tank, and then we're going to have an erection of the new tank. So, Scott, I would expect you're going to see that permit. Lindsay's probably going to send you that permit before the end of next week for signatures. and we'll submit that to the state. This should go pretty quick, because there's really nothing, there's nothing difficult about this.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as the state reviewing for permitting.
Yeah. If Dave was here, he's literally going through this process right now, putting a new water tank in where he works at.
Okay.
And so this is one where they actually didn't take the low bidder because they were concerned if they could do it or not. So
That they did not?
they did not.
Okay.
And so that was, ours is what it is, but it's just interesting how we're putting a tank up like this, and where he's at.
Do you
He's
know
in the middle of
what
design.
kind of tank it was? I mean, is it like a legged tank or?
He told me, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
There are only a handful of folks that do these, and don't be
Yeah.
surprised if you only get 2 bids.
Yeah, exactly. They were surprised. They got 3. They were surprised they got 3, because you're right. It's only two people really do this.
And how long ago was this that they had their bid?
About 2 months ago.
Okay, so they probably haven't even started putting the tank up yet.
They have not. They're get him to do it. I think that's one of the things that he's in the middle of doing right now is the pre-construction meetings and everything now.
And that is what, an hour from here?
No, about
30 minutes.
30, 40
40
minutes.
minutes from here?
30 minutes. That's
You
what
know, so yes, you get on the street, right up here.
Yeah.
He'd love to put another tank in the ground 30 miles away,
Yeah,
30 minutes away.
exactly.
About
You don't
23
see
miles.
tanks going up every day.
No.
Not close together.
Yeah.
So, but no, by the end of next week, he'll have the permits, and we should be in a position to get that out to the state no later than first of the following week, and that's the only permit. We're probably going to get we're going to use your existing driveway, so we don't need to worry about any encroachment, which is not a problem to get anyhow. We're disturbing less than an acre, so we don't have to worry about sedimentation, erosion control, even though we'll have silt fence and those measures on our drawings, but we don't have to go through the process of getting that. So that's running a close second to these other projects.
The water tank and then the directional bore lines, connecting those ends in is probably one of the biggest things for our water system.
Yeah.
We'll see the biggest impacts on
Correct.
pretty quickly.
We had that conversation with the, with the group that we're working with on some of the modeling efforts. And it's, when you close those two closed-in loops with that directional bore, you're gonna, you will, the folks will see the benefit.
Yeah.
That are using the water.
Yeah, that, and also the fire departments want to see it when they do the flow tests at some of their farthest reaching fire hydrants. I know that Hosel was
That's
having some
needed.
issues with theirs, and it's going to be a big deal to be able to increase the water flows of some of those things, to be able to decrease people's insurance rates.
It was a while back, we spoke before you one night, and I believe kind of gave you the difference in flow rates. You know, the focus of that was over at the lumber mill. You know, what you got now, and then with the new tank and the new line work coming into town, big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. So, yeah, a lot to be excited about as far as all of these go. That's kind of it on the water tank. Scott?
We got the 2 new wells,
All right.
which seem to pick up steam after well 1A. We changed out the pump at well 1A, as you recall. And from the time the application went in last May or June, that thing drug out till right at Christmas. I mean, that was a slow, and it was slow because of the navigation we had to do through the bureaucracy up at Raleigh. But I think we got some attention, though, that really has them focused on the situations here and the fluoride priority that the board's made. So based on the communication I'm seeing, they've asked more questions, we've provided the data, and I'm hopeful that's going to break loose for you real quick.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Rodney speak a little bit on the wells, probably a little bit more than me, and then the remaining projects that are well related. He's been more involved in the day-to-day with that than I have, and with Dr. Sproul's group, GMA, who we met with yesterday. We've received their proposals on the 2 new wells, and Rodney, I think those are ready to move forward, correct?
The 2 water supply wells?
Yes. Locating properties, getting permission, making sure we're with the right distance away from any ag wells that are out there that we didn't want to impact or have impact your future well. And it's just a matter of kicking that off, getting with the property owners, getting options. But again, Rodney's been working kind of day to day on that, and you're welcome to get up and finish speaking on the wells and the closeout of the AIAs and the water model, the hydraulic model.
All right. Just rest yourself or something.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, members of the board. Things, as Leo said, are coming together real well for y'all now, and we're excited about that to see some progress being made. With regard to the water supply wells, we had that as a top priority higher up, and if you'll recall, back in the summer of last year, y'all felt it was prudent, and we did too, that we do a little bit more research in the community with agricultural wells and doing a lot of background sampling with the hopes with using Dr. Sproul. We were hopeful that we would find a groundwater source somewhere in the county that would have low enough fluoride levels that we could be under the threshold of the 0.7 milligrams per liter that this board took action on as a health policy, and I'll commend you for that. And Brad and I Leo were having a conversation earlier today about, again, and that was somewhat controversial on the board, but y'all prevailed in what you took a bold step for public health interest, and that was that if a water system today in North Carolina decides that it wants to implement a fluoridation program, and I'm still pro fluoride. I've been engaged with that for 50 years in my work profession. But what we're learning about fluoride and cognitive impact on that it doesn't take as much as it originally. When I first started in the business, it was 1.5. And then it came down to 1.2. Then it came down to 1. And now it's 0.7. Now the Secretary of Public Health, Mr. Kennedy in Congress, in the cabinet, he's completely anti. And there's good science and there's bad science on that. But we know that fluoride in bone structure in the first and second trimesters of a mother's pregnancy, that's important for bone development and teeth. And then excessive fluoride, it can start being bad for your teeth, and it can have impacts on cognitive development. So for that reason, we went through all that gamut to say this, that we submitted the well tube water supply at the end of our canvas of all the wells, and Brad did a battery of tests. In fact, we went to some farms that you'd recommended. And so we concluded that it was more prudent for the county to go after high volume wells and just go ahead and deal, except the fact that we're going to have to, if we're going to reduce fluoride, we're going to have to go through treatment. So with that, we got busy with putting the pilot together. We wrote the engineering report. We submitted that to the state. And at the 1st of January, we still haven't got approval. We submitted it back early last September. And we called the office and they said it'll be 4 to 6 more weeks. Well, when well 2A well 2 broke, Scott and Brad, we all appealed to Jamie Midget, the regional health engineer out of the Washington regional office. And we said, we need some help. We're in a water crisis now. If we lose well 3, we're out of water. So we need to get busy with getting that engineering report so we can go ahead and start the engineering development on your other water supply. So we're happy to report that was approved last week. And Dr. Sproul and I and Leo met last night and again this morning. And we're moving on that. We're putting the contracts. We have a contract to do it with the board, but we haven't got a contract with Dr. Sproul yet. And we're setting up the strategy. And we're going to be looking for land. And then once we get the land, we'll be doing pilot well test and taking sampling. And then from there, we'll design the full well. So that's where we are on that. With regard to our asset inventory and assessment, that's where we went out and we looked at the whole entire water system, and we surveyed it, all the vertical assets in the system, as well as the plant, has all been surveyed to sub-centimeter accuracy. And we identified that Brad inherited 425 plus or minus valves, and about 350 of those 450 valves you got in the system are not accessible. They've been damaged, they've been hit, they're full of dirt, you can't, so if he has to isolate a valve, it takes him an hour or two to find it, and then was taking him that long, and then he's got to spend an hour or two to dig it up and get on it and get it back corrected. So that's going to be one of the projects that's going to come out of the asset development. And that may be something that the utility department funds itself, or it may be a project we just go out and bid it. That'll be left up to internal management to make that decision. So after doing the survey, we have completed all of that. We did a rate study. That's been finished, and we're handing that over to Scott. But we have mutually agreed, now that you've got all your water meters in, that we ought to wait at least a year, because now you're able to bill the full potential of the water that you're selling. And then you see what the impact of that new revenue is. And then that would help go toward factoring. We had a rate in there, but we don't know that we need to implement that yet. Or we may want to adjust it for more depending on what the economy is. Also, we did an asset management plan, and an asset management plan, that is where you have a policy and a program where you manage all your assets. You have a capital improvement plan, and then each year or every 2 years, Brad and Scott will address that and reprioritize based on what needs are in the system, because things do change. So the capital improvement plan will be a dynamic plan. It'll be live and active, and you'll be adjusting that from year to year. And that requires board action. Y'all have to, it doesn't mean that you're gonna do that work, and you don't do that work. This gentleman right here, and this gentleman right here develop a project ordinance, and this board approves it. Once you approve a project ordinance, then you're gonna build that project, whatever that improvement will be. So we're gonna turn that over to y'all next week. The hydraulic model has just been completed, and now we're doing the final drafts and writing that up. And out of the hydraulic model, we've recognized weaknesses, and some of that's already been plowed into what Leo's talking about with your transmission lines going out to the Commerce Park and also going in to the lumber company. So there'll be a major fire suppression enhancement in the Gatesville community area proper. Immense changes on that. Moving from that, we've also finished the sewer assessment, and some of the work that we're doing now is a part of that assessment, and it's in the capital improvement plan. We launched the pilot study that Scott was talking about, where you showed the pictures of that. That was launched about 2 weeks ago. We just sent off our first battery of tests to a commercial lab. And we've got some of those results back. Some of those tests take a little bit longer to develop. And we'll be running analysis weekly on all 3 technologies. And we'll be benchmarking and developing that. And at the end of the pilot, we will then compare and write a technical report and make a recommendation of what we recommend as being the preferred technology. And that boils into reoccurring costs, maintenance and operation, capital costs, and all that'll have to be cleared. If we end up with a technology that requires backwash and filter waste, then we have to go through an MPDS permit. And because of the concentration of the backwash, then the only place that you got in this county to discharge that's the Chowan River. And we just got the sample back. Bradley's taken some analysis or some sampling on that, and the private lab has just sent that back. And guess what? We have a background concentration of fluoride in the Chowan ecosystem of 0.5 parts per million. And your health target is 0.7. You could almost drink the water out of the river and achieve your health goal.
It's the other stuff that comes along with it.
You got to get the fish waste and some mud out of it. You know, that's another thing to consider.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And Barry and I were talking. Barry is he's a retarded water purveyor like me, has gone to the engineering side for running a water system. And we both agreed this morning that finding a strong presence of fluoride in the Chowan River, it probably will help us in our permitting because the ecosystem is already adjusted and accustomed to fluoride. So I propose right now that the fish have healthy teeth and good healthy gills.
I've been wondering why it's been so hard to scale these fish out of
Yes, yeah. So we just thought that was interesting to share with the board, that's what's going on. We're also this spring, and we'd like to have a general consensus of the board. We've talked to Scott about this. We have 2 funding rounds in the state revolving fund process. We have a spring round, which we start working on that the first week of next month. And then we have to turn those applications in by April 30th. And then there's a fall round. Because your fluoride is not exceeding the EPA limit of 4 parts per million, which nobody wants to be drinking 4 parts per million. And it is higher than the secondary limit of 2. We're going to press hard on that, but the way the scaling and the rating on these competitive grants, they don't give you a lot of high points for that. So we're going to work real hard and submit an application, if it's the will of this board, to start going after funding. And the thing about SRF, and because the county is a distressed county, we feel like it's prudent to go ahead and start making applications on that. If we don't score well enough, then we'll reapply again, and we'll reapply again. And then in the background of that, Scott has already had conversation with USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and they're willing to probably fund this project, but their interest rate is going to be much higher. You can get a longer term, whereas generally on SRF projects, you're looking at a 20-year amortization, whereas in USDA, you're looking at a 38-year amortization. So you can get your rate down with lengthening out your term, but you're going to pay twice the interest. So you have to weigh all that out. So all that is, from the engineer perspective, we figure that out for you. We make recommendations and the board decides on that. So we're looking at USDA funding, and we're going to be looking at state revolving loan funding, and anywhere else we may can find some grants. So
And continued grant funding. There was the BRIC application y'all put in this past
yes,
year.
we're still exploring that. Billy Tuckwilder is doing a great job, and he's helping us out on that. And he's been aggressive on seeking grants, you know. And sometimes timing is everything. It's just everything. It's like in these grants, in these loan applications, you got a lot of competition, but people think sometimes they claim points, but they can't really back it up. And you got 2 different reviewers that look at these applications. And this is statewide. You know, everybody's kind of playing with the same equal rules, you know, here. So sometimes it's all about timing. sometimes it's bad luck on somebody. The state will appropriate X millions of dollars. And depending on what the cost of these various projects is, when they run out of money, they cut it off wherever it is, you know. So that's part of that process. And then getting back to what Leo was saying a while ago about bidding, sometimes it's, in the bid climate, is how busy the contractors are. Right now, there's more work. There's a ton of work out there because the government is flooding the market. It's a contractor's market now. It's not a buyer's market. So we have to deal with that dynamic. So that's pretty much everything I got. I believe, was anything else you wanted me to report on? Well, the permitting on 2A. On the emergency we got, we met with Dr. Sproul last night and again this morning, and he's preparing the specifications, and we're developing the drawings. We'll start on that, and once that's underway, we will get that. And this is going to be kind of a reverse engineering because this is an emergency. We have asked the Washington Regional Office to let us kind of circumvent the process. Typically, the process is you write an engineering report, you make application, make an engineering report, and then they review that, and then you do plans and specifications. They review and approve that, and you go through the whole process just like we have the pipes that we're doing. But in this case, we got an emergency, so we're hoping that the state has given us a favorable nod that they will allow us to construct the well and do as-built drawings. But one of the things that we're still working on is looking at how we're going to pay for that, and I think Scott's going to have some recommendations on that. And so how we fund this could have some impact on the delivery of that well, but it's imminent. We got to do something. We're on that right now, and we're addressing that with full dispatch. Is there any questions?
As far as getting some additional funding along the way for some of these projects, have we, at what point in time do we really need to start engaging our lobbyists to be able to lobby our representatives?
Well, we've been staying in touch with Steinberg, and he has indicated that he's got some significant communication channels up to the Secretary's office, RFK Jr., and I think we really need to wait till we know what the legislature is going to look like, both state and Congress, to really know how to navigate. But we're hopeful that the feds can be a big contributor to this.
And we have our legislation day up in Raleigh when?
It's June 10th through 12th, I think, somewhere in that range. June 11th and 12th, or 12th and 13th, I think. And we also have, I believe on the March, so I was just looking at, Mr. Steinberg should be joining us in March at the March meeting for updates and anything that we want to get back.
Do we need to develop maybe some literature document or something like that so we can give to Bob and he can walk around and wave in there and say, hey, Gates County needs this, needs your help type of thing.
So,
and then also we can take through the legislation days and say, these are the projects that we got coming up and we need funding and help from Raleigh.
I really think, and excuse me, just
no, you're fine. You're fine. You're good.
I really think that Sternberg probably ought to give you at least a quarterly report on what's going on.
Yeah.
Even if he says, I'm sorry, we didn't get anything this month.
Right.
It's like playing basketball with Carolina State. You got to keep the full press report on the court all the time.
That's
right.
You got to deal with that too. And I would recommend one other thing that y'all strongly consider, and that is setting up some type of legislative retreat or legislative reception where you bring in your senator like Haney, you bring in your congressman and your House of Representatives, and once or twice a year, you just talk and tell them, Tell them what your needs are. If you don't tell them what your needs are, you're gonna get left behind.
So that's what I was about to say. We had started that last year. We did our first legislative appreciation day and had them come in and met and gave them, we had a sheet that we had typed up with some basic things that's going to be expanded upon before June when we go back. So it'll be more of a packet versus a page when we go back in June, which we can try and work on that sooner to have with Steinberg and different things.
And I would really love to see y'all get a STAG grant, that's state and tribal assistance grant. And these are set up through your congressman. But to do that, you gotta have a relationship with your congress. It don't make no difference what the politics is. You sit
Right.
down and you tell them you got a health problem.
Yep.
And they will help you.
Right.
I mean, that's free money. I mean, we just, one client we had, Holders Beach, had a major problem. They got right at $2 million.
Right.
Well, $2 million would do a whole lot
Yeah.
as far as the engineering and the planning and all that for this fluoride project.
And I will say that is one thing that we've been in pretty steady communication with Congressman Davis's office. And I think the most recent email was forwarded, that came in just this week, possibly. My days are jumbled with the sick kids, I'm telling you, but I think it was Monday or Tuesday that the email came in. And it's only Wednesday, so that tells you how long my days are right now. But we are trying to engage with them, and we're also trying at state level, just across the board, with all of the representation that we can get to go out there and fight for us a little bit. So we will continue reaching out with Congressman Davis's office and seeking those avenues.
Well, I've got an ask now.
Okay, throw it out there.
In order to keep this project in motion, we've got to identify some funds. And we've got a suggestion at the bottom of your list. The county had committed several years back about helping the state park with its new campground and tying them into the sewer line in our sewer system. That was funded in the SL 134 program before the county was successful on T.S. Cooper and Buckeye. So we were able to pull back and have the T.S. Cooper design incorporate the flows from the state park. So they will be a customer for us. And that has freed up the number there at the bottom, the 284,912. And we will have to work through a process with DEQ to get these funds deobligated and transferred to another project. And what I'd like to do is, hopefully after our discussion this afternoon, suggest that the board amend your agenda for 6 when you open up the meeting and consider a motion, and I'll have something drafted for you, but a motion to seek the state's approval, because this project has been, we use the word canceled, but it's really been completed, given that it was integrated with the T.S. Cooper, and have those funds reallocated for the well 2A, and I'm calling that rehabilitation, because we're trying to save our existing well field. And there's underneath the survey, there's a contract from Green Engineering, which reflects their work and Dr. Spruill's part. And in order to keep this on track, I would also need that action by the board this evening to be to agree to this engagement. And just by comparison, when we did the 1A pump switch out this past summer, that whole exercise from an engineering standpoint was about $29,000, but that was a simpler situation. Our engineering for the new supply wells, going from the land all the way to having the backup power and all of that, that engineering was $150,000 per well. I think our contract's $302 for that work. So I think this estimate is within line, and Dr. Spruill is aware of what we're doing. They have spoken with the folks at East Point, Justin Nixon and Jimmy. I can't remember Jimmy's last name. Morris. They have put together a concept for helping us out that includes doing all of the drilling work, including the materials. And on this long sheet, it's through item 4 with doing it at their cost, no markup. And then we would, and this would be our cost, and then our cost for the installation of all the electronics and the pumping. The conservative estimate that they have put on the table is probably $180,000 to $200,000. We're hoping to be less than that. But as we go this route with the 134 money, we will have to take competitive quotes on that work. So if they will stick to their game plan, I'm hopeful that we get the best bargain possible for the work that needs to be accomplished. I don't know if you have other questions. I mean, we haven't made Brad speak. He's the one that's been doing all the heavy lifting over there. But we're really, I think, getting strong support from the state, both at the regional office and the Raleigh office, particularly as it relates to these supply wells. They know where Gates County is. They realize our challenge with not only the fluoride, but that we have some aged infrastructure that we need to expand and shore up and really work on that redundancy capability. So I don't know if I see all 3 heads nodding, but if we could consider bringing this up this evening at 6 o'clock, we'd really like to keep this project moving, particularly on the application piece, which is the engineering with Green and Dr. Spruill.
Yeah, I agree. It's something we're going to have to do, so I don't see if
We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't.
Okay.
Especially, keep going after grant
Yeah.
monies.
I mean, it's nice to have funding available if it can be reallocated. Yeah.
Well, and as the finance director reminded me again day before yesterday, Scott, you can't ask for this out of fund balance. Even if it was utility fund. He said, I really think you need to work up your argument for the SOA for the full reallocation.
I gotta say, I don't like him sitting over here when people are talking, because I was looking as we were going over SRF or USDA and the different, and like, which one do you like? Because you're the... I couldn't see you.
I made out something about even more paperwork, and that's all I can.
USDA can be a great partner, but they specialize in loans, and we want to try to minimize that.
I realize when I can't see people how often I look at them for certain things during different meetings.
I look at his facial expressions.
That's what
to
I'm
see which
saying,
way
yeah,
to go.
yeah. How are we feeling about this?
y'all are letting everybody know what their tail is, so shh. Yes, sir.
One thing I'd like to add in my theory is well 3 what happened to well 2 could happen to well 3 at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's 50-year-old casing.
yeah.
Yep. Did it just collapse?
I mean-
Is that what happened? It collapsed?
It got holes in it, and I mean, it just disintegrated pretty much. And,
Yeah.
Same thing happened to well 3. If well 3 goes down,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to the river.
Yeah, we're going to the
Or
road.
apparently, yeah, we're gonna pipe it in,
Go out back to the creek.
just to filter the fish out.
I'm just going to run back, just going to run that way.
That's right.
Okay. No, I mean,
We'll get it.
I think, yeah. I think we're all in agreement there, yeah.
That's not a problem with it.
And you said you'll have the language together, okay.
All right.
I think that's about all we had for the green team this evening. You've got a,
I'd like to ask one thing before we leave, with the utility projects coming up, with especially the 2 school projects. We run into this recently with another client. The contractors, because we can't find an electrician anywhere near the location of the project. And we've got to bring somebody in from 2 hours away or whatever. So if there's any utility contractors, I don't know if we provided you that master list or who, if you know anybody around here that might be interested that we don't know of, we'd love to have their names and send them an invitation, just again to garner interest in competition bids. And when it comes to the work on the pump stations, might be a little different. Larger on the wastewater plant, they may have their own electrical group, but we have seen that. If y'all know of anybody in the area, we can call us, get a flash on the electrical.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got,
Yeah, we can definitely help with that.
I was going to say, these are the two that you want to talk to.
and there's some,
Bring it up, I don't need the name today, but
Right.
if there's a way we can, get those names and.
Yeah, if you just share them with Brad, we'll get it down to you.
Everybody on the list.
yeah, I mean, you have E.G. Middleton, you got Hyde Ryan's, you got, yeah.
That wasn't
Yeah.
The problem that we're going to run into is like in his world that he works in and my world that I work in the market right now is completely inundated with work, and it's going to be very hard. That's why I was asking, hey, if we only get one or two bids, how long we got to go? Because
Right.
that's happening with me on some projects that we were the only person to put a number on it.
Yeah.
And we're having to go through that cycle.
And when, we've had projects back at home in Wilson, and I got buddies that have, a farm that electrician. And,
Busy.
prices reflect they're
Yeah.
not needing to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, if there was any, if there's anybody local.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy from Wilson or there's a TLO from Goldsboro did the work and doesn't know, or doesn't know exists. I just wanted to throw that out. If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
If not, it's fine.
So, all right, good deal. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We don't want to hold you up for getting home for dinner, Rodney.
That's right.
But if you want to stay for the rest of the,
I brought the square there, but he's got a Bible.
All right.
Yeah, can we do a brief recess for a
yeah,
second?
whatever.
We have a,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to go into recess.
So, second.
all in favor? All right, so we are 10-minute recess?
Yeah, 10
Okay.
Thank y'all,
you.
appreciate it very much.
recess is always appreciated.
I need to run and make a phone call.
So how is everybody at your house?
I'm staying away from everybody a little bit.
Renee does a good job taking care of us.
Yes,
Yes,
he
she
does. Very much so.
I think dinner's going to be really nice, that little snack she's got put together.
All right, can we get a motion to come out of recess?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Hey. All right, we are back in session, and we're going to turn it over now to County Manager to move along with items B and C.
Item next, the Community and Senior Centers. You recall, we put out a request for qualifications for selection of a design team. And I'm delighted and surprised that we had 11 design firms
Yeah.
respond. And you each have a binder of their qualifications, their background, projects they've done in the past. And I'm just suggesting that each commissioner take a set home. Lisa will be taking a set home and give some thought to cutting the list in half or picking your top 3 or 5 and spend some time engaging with the ones that really seem interesting, because in my experience with these folks can bring a lot of ideas to the table that we may not have considered, including other ways to generate funds for the construction. Because one of the questions they will ask the board is, well, do you have your budget for this yet? And, do you have the funds? We have $1 million out of $4.8 million. And one of the exercises your successful firm may have to do is help calculate a new cost estimate based on whatever we describe as our priorities. The other thing I have for you, feasibility study. I think it would be good to dial that in with these folks you talk to, because they may have experience with a flex facility or an alternative grocery market to say, and
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Lots of reading.
I don't know that we can select a date tonight, but if you could please be thinking about blocking out part of a day or a whole day, or I guess to narrow it down, it'd be a short meeting, most likely, but then we'd need to block out a day, because we should give these folks a week or two advance notice, because some are coming from quite a distance. But I was really pleased to see that number of
Yes,
folks respond.
quite surprising, actually.
Yeah, 'cause
It
I-
really is.
It's exciting.
I was sharing with the chair, I was afraid we might just get one. And to have 10 plus 1 is great for your options. Item next, I wanted to talk a little bit about facility issues, particularly GITS and the county annex, and we talked a little bit about that at the planning session. We have some grant money already in the bank and committed toward the relocation to the county annex. And if that's going to be a project that maybe needs to be reevaluated or deferred, we may have to make some adjustments related to those grants, but also let the contractor know, we're not going to hold him up, and he's going to have to release us. But I did want to share a little bit of the rationale. Certainly, helping GEMS to find a better location was one of the driving forces. And we haven't found that yet. I mean, clearly getting into the GEMS building or the GITS building may not work. On the human service side, having the adjacency with the GITS folks in the public health department, since a lot of clientele may be going to the public health after they're picked up and brought in, could be a benefit. But looking even longer term, at a point in time in the future when we may have staff changes, the board may want to evaluate reconfiguring the transportation program. Our regional health service operates a transportation system. I think it's ITCA, and they may very well be interested in consolidating with it. I've never had that discussion with Ashley Stoop, but that would be a way to hopefully make the regional system stronger, provide continued employment for our folks, but also reduce some of the overhead if there's a different transportation coordinator. And if you've never been to their facilities at Albemarle Regional Health, we ought to take a tour. They have their own bus garage, maintenance garage. It's like a NASCAR facility. I mean, it is really a nice, it's not like any county garage I've ever seen. So they really could be a potential partner. And that wouldn't have to be next to the health department, but that was another one of the parts to the equation that was discussed. And certainly helping gyms find a place that better suits the way they move product and get organized for their events, whether it's out of school facility if one comes available or something else, has been a priority, because I realize we've been a partner with gyms for many, many years, and the last thing we want to do is put them in an uncomfortable position that they feel we're not supporting. But I think it's worked well, but nothing's perfect and it can always be improved on. So I just wanted to get a sense, do I pull the plug on the fence and the generator? It may be that any of that project could potentially go to the existing GITS building. I don't know if their parking needs to be expanded or not, but they could certainly upgrade their generator potentially.
I happened to go over there yesterday, and if you don't mind, Madam
Yeah,
Chair,
go ahead.
the other day after we finished up our kickoff meeting and everything, and so I took the elections director up on her invitation to come by there, take a look around and all that kind of good stuff. And she's got it laid out great. And I was always under the impression that on the other side of the building is where the gyms was at, trying to understand the layout of the building and everything. And when I saw, okay, this is where gyms actually is, and going in my mind thinking, I know that we're trying to find a better place for them. And with them moving out and then moving the GITS into that area, there was a lot of disconnect in there. And it was like there wasn't enough room really in my eyes to be able to get everybody in there and functionality like they're functioning now. And so after I walked through and kind of looked at that, and understanding the issues that the elections office was having over there, and
Well, there's some other components to that too.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah, so there's some other components with that somehow or another we're going to have to address. And then I went over, I asked Ms. Patrice as far as what her thoughts are, the feasibility of the space and those type of things like that. And right now, I'm more of the opinion of making the space that they're in right now work for them for their future needs, right? And so one of the things that she did talk about was like they do need a little bit more space for the vehicles and the compound area that they got, and which they have space. We have that grant money that's available to
we
us.
just need to watch out for the septic tank back there. That's always a
And I think
landmine for us.
around the other side of it. And so you have to watch out for that. But we have some space there. We could do that. The existing facility really doesn't have, other than through the back entry, a handicap. And a lot of people that come and need those resources that she's offering there are handicapped folks. And so instead of having them come in through the back way, maybe that we do some type of a renovation project where we can expand on to the front entry, make it a handicap accessible coming into the front entry and those type of things like that. But the actual space that they're using functions really well, and they like it. And so, yeah, we have the money that's been granted to us for a new generator. We can just, and this is just in my mind, you know, we could pull the old generator out, repurpose it somewhere else, put the new generator in that spot, so they got a brand new generator now, and we can take the fence and make it more of a circle drive where it's easier for their drivers to get in and out, and give them a little larger fencing area with the money that's already been given to us. And then maybe look for other grant opportunities to maybe upgrade the facility and all that with a better handicap entry and those type of things like that is what's in my mind right now that we could probably do to make that space better for them. And maybe just give the elections that whole side of the building over there. Let them deal with that. Once Jits moves out.
You mean
No,
Jim's?
yeah, Jim's, once Jim's moves out.
And that's the challenge, is we don't know what that time will be.
We don't have a good space for them. And really, we all know what the long-term goal is that once the school systems decide what they want to do with one of their 3 elementary schools, you know, we've had that discussion with them that we wanted to move the gyms into the cafeteria of the school that was going to be closed. Yeah. And that ultimately is the best option for gyms is because it gives them big walk-in freezers, big walk-in coolers.
Ground level.
It's all ground level. That gives them
That's truly the benefit.
It gives them a big
Circular
loop drive,
drive,
and so everything that they need to be able to serve and then expand the services that they already provide, especially if we can, fortunate enough that the county agrees to move forward on the Article 46, they're going to get some of that money to be able to expand on their services. So
Well, let me ask William, we may have to ask for one more item on your consent agenda, which would be a request from the Gates County Board of Commissioners to our funding agency due to a realignment of capital projects to de-obligate those funds and see if we can move those to her other building or whatever the use is, because this has been in place for 18 months or more.
My concern is that all this was established on her moving.
Yeah.
So if she's not moving, I don't know if they're gonna allow us to use that money
Yeah.
to do improvements while she's there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would be a concern.
But it's worth having the conversation.
Yeah, and we could say that, you know, that where she's currently at needs additional monies, not just for the fence, but also the redoing the front
handicap
entrance for
accessibility,
making that handicap accessible.
Because this is transportation money, and they'd be very sensitive to the transportation piece. So
Yeah.
I'll try to craft a similar
Okay.
item on that,
Okay.
if that's okay.
That would be great.
I don't, on the Board of Elections piece, we tried to, let me back up. When Jim's was gifted that space for their operation, they were able to really spread out the flow of their materials, and they used that entire front lobby as part of their staging area as they prepared for the clients that were coming in on pickup days. And as we tried to lay out the space functionally so it would really benefit elections, we basically relegated the GEMS entity to the back end of the building and also using the back entrance. Because to bring large hand trucks and pallets in through those front doors, well, we just put down new carpet, and we just thought it'd be better to try to separate the traffic. I really wanted a wall of separation, but the fire code would not allow that. It'd be ideal, but there is common space, and there are many boards of elections that work in multi-agency or multi-department buildings. But the other piece of this is we have office space or storage space that is occupied by part-time staff. And in a lot of organizations, your workstation is calculated by your grade classification, your job function, your responsibilities. You might have a cubicle at one level, you might, as a supervisor, have a jumbo cubicle that has a U-shaped table, but you usually have to get a little bit more advanced responsibility to have a closed office. And we've talked a lot about customer service over the years, and I would ask that we talk about do we want the citizens walking into our building to be faced with an empty desk, an empty countertop, and have to push a button and have somebody come because we had the workspace all set up, even for two people if it was needed during busy times, where they'd have access to a copier, computer, telephones. There's just something to be said for a friendly greeting when a customer comes in. So, again, these are just all things to think about.
Yeah, that is.
And the last thing I want to do, or we need to do, is to put any more stress on the primary process. I mean, this is a busy time. This is
Yes.
Ms. Gaskin's first
Yes.
time at the helm, and anything we can do. And I know I joked about toilet problems at the last meeting, but we had a crash with the toilets on the Board of Elections side last night that I got a call about. And Ms. Gaskins was so gracious, she called and she says, well, Mr. Sauer, I want to ask if Jim's would allow us to use the bathrooms on their side. So I said, look, this is a county facility. We're all in this together. Jim's is only there a few times a month. If anybody needs to use the restroom, sure, we've got other restrooms here, but we've got we had a staff group unplugging today, and we've got Nixon's Plumbing coming in to do the major of it. But that may turn into a capital project where we've got a septic system that, and not just the drain lines, but maybe a larger reservoir that has to be pumped out. Because with the folks in the health department, the Board of Elections, traffic, and I learned today, the pharmacy on the other end of the unit,
Privately owned.
they're tied into our sewer also. And that's under new ownership. I know they've cleared some area behind the old pharmacy, I think probably for storage, staging, and equipment stuff. But at some point, we might want to have a conversation with them about having their own wastewater connection, or maybe helping contribute to the solution to improve it for everybody.
Right.
It's like everything in Gates County. You peel back just a little bit, and you realize it's a much larger challenge. Just a couple other little things. The reentry council is shut down. You know, the funding has not come. Greg Singleton really worked the foundation lines and has tried to find a way to revive it. But one of the things that got started before it crumbled was the relationship with College of the Albemarle and DOT, and they are doing highway worker training there this week and next week. They're using our space. We have provided laptop computers that IT had through a grant from Elizabeth City State, and they're doing all sorts of hard skill and soft skill training. I don't know if they reached a dozen, but the recruitment was slow on getting students to sign up, but they had enough that they wanted to run the class as scheduled. I don't know what will happen in the future. We tried to work with Billy Tutwiler to make sure that we weren't putting his program out, but all of his classes and training and fire department, everything was worked out that there was no interference. So it really worked well. And that's one of the successes out of that whole exercise. Lastly, Paul Smith came by, and he has had such positive feedback from folks that the county commissioners visited last year. He is proposing April 15th, it's your April meeting, putting together another morning tour. He said it may not be as many facilities, but might be different sectors of agriculture to really broaden our understanding. But he indicates there's enthusiasm, it's goodwill, they feel better about their local government, so if that's something y'all would entertain, I'd like to.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I would like to do it,
Yeah.
but can we do it on another day, because I'm flying back in that day.
Okay. Well, and I guess we had just tried to consolidate with a board.
Yeah,
meeting.
that's.
So if
yeah.
we can find another day, I'm sure
Yeah.
Paul would
Yeah.
be glad to help us.
Yeah,
put
I
this
would like to
together.
go, but yeah, I hate to be the only person that's gonna mess it up, but as far as the scheduling date and everything, but I would let it be a part of that.
Well, if you'll check with the board chair, last year it was pretty hard for the vice chair to get an exempt
Yeah.
attendance slip. But that was just a really nice report from Paul.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is great.
that was one of the things I was gonna bring up when I
Yeah.
had a moment with everybody.
Okay.
is, Hey, can we do this on another day? Or
Okay.
it'll be hard set for this,
Mm-hmm.
is, I'm flying back that day.
Now,
Okay.
are you suggesting move the meeting or just not do the tour
No.
in the morning?
Just not do the tour in the morning.
Okay.
We'll do that another
Okay.
day.
Right, we can definitely talk and see what is possible. And then as far as the DOT COA thing,
If you want me to be here for the meeting, then you're gonna have to move the meeting too, because I don't think we can actually get back in until like late that night.
okay,
Okay.
we can look at quorum and talk about things and all that. Because I think that was also the meeting that we were looking at, the Board of Education, April 15th, presenting their,
Well, that was
Their
the 20
numbers.
Yeah, that's the month, but no, wait a minute.
April 15th was,
April 15th.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
It is that meeting, that's right.
And
Yeah.
maybe there's a
That's what
better
prompted me
fit
to
for
go back
that.
and look at my schedule, because I was like, I think I'm coming
Okay.
back one day.
yeah, we can sit down with schedules and,
March 25th, we're meeting with them.
yeah, March 25th, and then April 15th is the deadline we gave. Okay. But yeah, with the COA DOT thing, I think the first time for anything typically has lower attendance, so I think that's a good
They
number,
seem
so.
very pleased with it, the fact that we've got the adjacency to the DOT maintenance yard there for equipment and things. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this will continue.
All right.
One interesting thing in your agenda package, it was under the clerk's report. It's about our town hall meeting coming up Thursday.
Yes.
There is an approval process to use the Performing Arts Center. There's a copy, it's way back in the book. I think it's after the last citizen application. We have filled out the application, but they've got 3 bullets on the last page with other requirements, basically that we have a vote of the governing body approving this event. And they want us to hold them harmless for any liability if something were to happen. I mean, I think our coverage is probably such wherever you all go and set up in Gates County, we're going to be covered. Easy for me to say, right?
Does that sound right? Okay.
And if it's a sponsor of the county, we have coverage.
Okay.
It's a big umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. We will get that.
So that's on the agenda. Oh, what about the Animal Rights Council thing?
We have several of those in here
Yeah.
for tonight.
Okay, so that is.
There's
that
some
is
discussion
for-
tonight for that, yeah.
Yeah, you've got several
Yeah, I
applications.
know Rob was saying he wasn't gonna be, his daughter has a functional school.
They don't have to be,
And that's why I told him, I said, you don't have to be there, so.
Yeah.
Typically, I know sometimes we've had people interested and they come forward, but
Yeah, you don't have to.
typically they don't have to be there. That's why they submit their
Yep.
written statement.
Yeah.
And Warren, do you want to share just briefly the ABC letter we received? Because that's not on the list, but it came from Mr. Kittrell, who they think has been in the position 50 years.
It's been a while, yeah.
We've not been able to certify that. The state can't find any records that far back.
He didn't remember how, when he started.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been on the ABC board before there was ABC.
I think before it was resistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is,
could you come to the mic just because it is a letter? Thank you. So since it's dealing with a board.
Yeah, Mr. George P. Kittrell Jr. has given his resignation to resign as chairman of the board of the ABC board. And he writes, I, George P. Kittrell Jr. do hereby resign the position of Chairman, Gates County ABC Board. I respectfully request that the Commissioners consider appointing Board Member Mr. Joseph G. Casper as Chairman of the Gates County ABC Board. Mr. Casper has proven himself to be very qualified for this position. It is my intent to complete my appointed term to the Gates County ABC Board, and his appointment would end November 15th of this year. So I'm assuming we would need board approval by you all to appoint Mr. Casper,
Okay.
acting chair.
So something we'll need to add to the agenda tonight.
And
then.
ABC is one of those boards where the county commissioners pick the chair.
Yes.
It's not where they vote amongst themselves, so you really want somebody that's
So
responsible and dedicated.
his resignation, though, is just from board chair, and then he's continuing to remain on the board until the end of the term in November, which then we would need to appoint somebody new to the board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure I had all the dates right. Okay, thank you. Where am I looking at here?
Now, I've got some stuff I could fill your time with, unless you all need to take a break and check emails and.
We can keep going if you
I was
want.
going to say, yeah, we got administrative updates and calendar notes here. Is that all that you have
Well,
for
that
that? Was that all that? Okay.
Well, William, you're still here. Okay. Let me, I've put together some notes.
That's fine. That's my project.
Oh,
We're just finishing it right now.
that's awesome.
So somebody else designed it, you know, build it.
Yeah, Clark Dixon.
Okay.
And again, I know we have an audit being presented tonight, and I was going to make my comments after, but and I'm not saying we need to interact or challenge. I just want to let you know what it is. And this is the sheet that's, I've got a bunch of paper. This is the one that's easiest to do.
Okay.
And what I want you to look at is the sheriff's budget. Yeah, William works really hard with every department each year to make sure that nobody ends up in the red. Nobody. And this year there have been some GASB, that's the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or maybe it's General Accounting Standards Board, I'm not sure which, but they've got some new rules for the reporting of leased vehicles and under our fleet management. But if you look on your left-hand side, you'll see the sheriff's office finished their budget with a $240,000 surplus. It goes back into your treasury, the general fund balance. And that's what we have been anticipating. And I think I even shared some numbers with the board back in November. Well, by the time we got our final version of the article and they dialed in the GASB, it's called GASB 87, you know, we have a fleet management system that covers more than just the sheriff.
Right.
Maintenance vehicles,
Yeah, I mean, it's all the,
animal control, and what they do in this adjustment is they capture the entire value of the 5-year lease. So.
That's not right.
So he ends up, and the number that they, well, that's the way I know to put it, covers all departments except utilities. Utilities is kept in the utility
Yes,
fund, the
yeah.
water fund. But all the general fund vehicles, now granted, the sheriff has the bulk of them, but I don't think it's accurate or fair to impose that adjustment on
Yeah.
one single department. And we found about this very late in the game. It may be that next year we could
push back.
Right.
persuade having an adjustment, but I'm concerned for the sheriff, because, you know, we talk a lot when he has budget amendments, that at least for the last 6 years, his department has put significant money, and he does not just
Yeah,
spend everything.
yeah.
And at negative 370,000 after a 240 game, I mean, that's over $600,000 swing.
Yeah.
And if he were to,
Has he been briefed on it?
no.
Okay.
So let me, they're putting the whole 5-year lease as an expense on 1 year?
1 year.
If you go to the following page, under other revenue,
Yeah.
there's a $600,000 hit there.
Yeah.
What it's saying they received the revenue. See, they are booking the entire value of the vehicle, but they're offsetting it, but it's not offsetting it inside of his budget
Yeah.
So
They're
it's-
offsetting it on
on
the,
other revenues.
yeah.
In the future, I'd like to see us argue strongly that we capture this type of documentation, what they call a non-departmental.
Right, because it's across departments.
Some places do that for
Yeah.
retiree health insurance, or they
Right.
do it for
Yeah.
any number of things, but we were surprised.
Yeah. And they should have called
Yeah.
y'all and talked about this.
And
We can definitely ask tonight, I think.
Yeah.
I think this should
well, I think
be,
what she has promised, she's going to explain it.
and then we can ask questions.
So when, before I start grilling on her and asking her why she's taking so long to get it, when did we know that they did this?
Well, I can't remember if we saw it right before Christmas or in January.
I think it was in January.
I think it was too.
So they just gave it, by that time, they've already done all their work, they're not willing to change
All the work
anything.
been done.
Yeah.
They just said to
With
Yeah.
Go through the final steps.
conversation, no dialogue.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of situations, you sit down with the
If-
officer,
Yeah.
if-
have a long conversation, you go through page by page.
Yeah.
Tell me how this works out.
Even December was recent, but if possible, if there's a correspondence that can get that date before the meeting tonight. I don't know if you have,
check my emails and see what I got.
if we could try
Yeah.
to just, I mean, I feel like January makes
Yeah,
us
because
have
you
a little
don't
more
make
room
a
for pushback.
$600,000 swing on somebody's budget and you don't pick up the phone and say, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think if we caught it earlier, we could have argued much more strongly to handle it as a non-departmental.
yeah.
We actually asked about couldn't we put it like in debt management?
Huh?
But the problem I had is since I didn't budget in there and it wouldn't show the budget, I have a budget violation.
Nah.
He said, you don't want that.
Yeah.
So is this a budget violation?
No, because our,
It's function.
it's done by, function like public safety, so it's not done under the department of the
You're 30.
For somebody like the sheriff who runs for public office, if he'd had a challenger this year.
Yeah.
Somebody could make a law,
Yeah.
hey, out
Yeah.
You're,
of a number that nobody
Yeah.
really understands.
we're lucky because we're only $35,000 away from being a budget violation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very close. I looked at, yeah. Like,
One of the interests is I went to a class in Chapel Hill a few weeks ago, and I actually talked to a couple of advisors afterwards, because I wanted to ask them about leases and all that. And they pretty much said that everybody that's ever opened up these leases run into the same problem. Said Wake County had a terrible thing, and they argued about it, but it didn't succeed. It's just, that's the way the gas control was written.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and this is where it gets a little muddy, you posted it, it's over, it's done with in the future, unless you get any more vehicles.
So this,
When you get new vehicles.
Yeah, every time you get a new vehicle, it's boom. Okay. So they make you claim the whole entire thing on that, even though you're not purchasing the
And you
vehicle
only pay
and
for
it's
like
a
1
lease.
year of it,
But
Right.
they make you recognize the whole 5-year expense of the lease right
the
now
right to use, you know.
on year one.
that's great.
Wow.
That's great.
Well,
Yeah.
and I've experienced, sometimes these rules get out in front of the practical application. This guy and I, in another life, were involved with the refinancing of debt for a water system. The debt for the water system was $11 million. They went through, they call it refunding, saved a ton of money, but the local government commission made us present it in our audit. We presented both the new debt and the old debt, so it was reflected as $22 million instead of $11 million. We spent an hour on the phone with the LGC, begging, and it just explained to us, this is the way you're required to do it. The next year, they changed the rules and put it back We would argue.
So did you get $11 million to owe?
It's just hard to explain to
Yeah.
people that take time to read your office, say, well, how did your water bill go from 11 to 22?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, because it could have been put,
again,
well, I guess that's why they put it there.
Well, I kind of look at it as being
Yeah.
kind of like debt, because you're paying sort of a debt,
Yeah.
and that's where I kind of wanted it to go. And then the first thing she said was then when you put it there and you don't have a budget, you have a budget violation. So,
Okay, I understand why she put it there now.
yeah.
Because if you go down each one of your brackets,
To get to
that,
the function,
yeah,
you're under what you budgeted for, so you
Yeah.
can't have a violation.
exactly. So in each one of your buckets that you would have it, that's the only one that she could have put it at
Right?
that would have not given you a budget violation. That's why she put it there.
Oh, because of the overage, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still just
But it's,
unfortunate.
yeah, it is. It is unfortunate.
It does make sheriff look worse off
Yes.
than he really was.
Yeah.
And for all of us, because we work really hard
Oh,
to make
yeah.
adjustments at
Yeah.
the end of the year for journal entries,
Mhm.
so that no department shows up in the red.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I've got a whole PowerPoint on this, do some other stuff for tonight.
Okay.
So basically, it's a $600,000 swing. Originally, we were thinking we were going to put $800,000 in the fund balance.
Well, we still put, here's the thing, we still put away 500.
Oh, that's because on the
yes.
other, you gotta reverse it back out.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
When you use, remember, you all
It just
have
doesn't look good here.
Percentage of fund balance.
yeah.
Well, when you use that worksheet between what I showed you in November versus now,
Yeah.
our expenditures are up an extra $611,000 because of that adjustment.
Yeah.
So our fund balance percentage dropped from 39 to 37%. That's still a great number.
Oh, yeah, that's still
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah.
I was feeling pretty good for you guys to have 39%.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it did have some, implications.
Yeah,
But,
These things just ripple through
yeah. Well,
We learn it together.
yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, it's not like you're going to be able to change it because it's,
And believe me, there's another one she's going to present in her presentation that's going to fool you, that I don't understand at all, but I want her to explain it.
okay.
And that's related to the utility fund where we spend grant money to take care of whatever it is, repairs or water meters. And they record the expenditure, but they don't record the revenue. And then it shows up like $1 million short, and they have no explanation. So he's been trying to contact her and ask.
Yeah.
I think he's going to ask that question.
The money came into the county.
Well, it
Yeah.
As
basically
revenue.
shows based on operating revenue versus expenses.
Uh-huh.
We had like a $900,000 deficit, but we're sitting there with $1 million in grant money.
Yeah.
We're $100,000 good, but it just doesn't show up on their report that way.
So where does the $1 million show up at?
Good question. That's-
So it's got to show up on one of the two books.
Well, this is a form they fill out for the LGC,
Okay.
and when it comes up with a negative, then it's a red line, and we got to try to explain it. Her comment is, oh, that's easy to explain, it doesn't account for revenue, grant revenue.
I'm going to say if you don't understand, it's probably not easy to explain. Because
I would not think
if
it's easy.
you can't make it make sense, we,
See, I don't understand how they can not count the revenue.
Come across as adverse to our.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody needs to understand what's in your audit and what your fiscal position is.
So,
See, I can
Why are they
understand-
not-
I can understand when we talk about operating revenue, that's you sell water and all that kind of stuff. But when you get down to expenses, why do you count the expenses that you spend on grants?
yeah, if you're not counting the
You're not
revenue.
gonna count the revenue from the
Yeah.
grant.
So where's the revenue counted at?
Well, it winds up being on your sheets, but this is the report they fill out to the LGC that gives you the red
Okay.
line that says you need to explain
It's
this.
also your operating ratio. And then it's-
Okay, it's that report that goes to them.
Yeah, it's that report, that I don't feel like they have enough information on that report, because I think there should be a line item that says,
Grants.
you receive grant money.
Yeah,
And that would basically take care of that.
because, or either that, or you should not be putting in the expenses. Because those
Right.
expenses wouldn't have been spent and if you didn't have that grant money.
That's
Right.
exactly what I said. I would not have spent these expenses on this project if I hadn't got grant money to do the project with.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll make a new line that says grant expenses.
That's just a little heads up for tonight when she talks about it. She
Awesome.
said she's going to explain it, and I'm really waiting to see her explain
Well,
it.
we
Yeah.
look forward to it. How much communication are they having then when there are any?
It's very low.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
I've got a few more examples if y'all want to take a little bit of time while we're
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah.
here. Again, I've got a PowerPoint so that it's explained to the folks at home later this evening. I'd like to just walk you through, and these are excerpts of the draft that we got on February 5th. We've still not seen the final printed audit. That's going to be delivered in a box tonight, in just a little bit.
Awesome.
But as we understand it, on the very front page, our unassigned fund balance is $5.9 million, which is a little bit less than I reported to you in November, because for the first time, going back 6 years, they pulled out GITS. GITS carries a little bit of a fund balance because it's set up now as a utility fund. But in all years back, going back to 2016, I think it was, we never pulled that out. That's not a worry. But let's talk about leases. When you look at the assets,
I have one thing before you get into that. So with the fund balance, it's all of this. It's just different pieces of the pie has been
yes,
assigned
yeah, the
somewhere.
Right,
general fund
right.
balance for the general fund's 8.4 million.
So that's the
8.4,
total
yes.
fund balance. There's no need to tell that to anybody else other than,
Yeah, well,
because that's,
and we're getting to another page.
because people will get very confused when you start, so how much,
Well, see, these breakouts, sometimes some of these accounts have, like reval, they
Yeah.
have fund balance
Yeah.
there, but you're gonna build up that for next reval.
Right.
So that's broken out separately, because it's kind of committed.
yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Well, this top sheet is your balance sheet, and over on the upper left-hand corner, I've got a little arrow, lease receivable. A year ago, the county renegotiated its lease with the federal government for soil and water, farm service agency, and rural development, where Matt Lowe,
Yes.
Leslie's offices. In years past, the county got about $40,000 in lease. Now we get not just a monthly rent, but we also get an equal amount for operating expenses. So it turned out to be about $1 million lease over the 10-year period. Well, you see, they reflect the entire value of the lease, because we've already received 1 year, 819, and then down below you see the 818. So that's an example, unlike the vehicles, where they show the asset and they show the liability, so it's a wash up front. It's not tied to
Yeah.
a departmental.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing in a lease, is just like with our building that we rent and everything.
That's what I was expecting.
So
Yeah,
then,
the whole entire lease is applied, and then you back, on the same sheet is back out.
so explain to me though why that isn't how they did this.
Because I think the GASB rules have a special section just for vehicles. And what's the term, right to use?
Right.
When
Right to
when
use,
you're-
okay.
When you're leasing somebody else's vehicle, you have the right to use that asset. Anyhow, the government.
So it's the vehicle part that makes the
Yeah, that's
GASB
what I
apply to
understand.
one and not the other lease. Okay.
It's not that we didn't budget for it, it just looks bad.
It just looks different on paper.
Well,
On the LGC report.
as I said on the second page, which you can't really go to, you've got it highlighted in here, other financing sources. We did not put in any money for that. That's the value of the leases that's offsetting that expense that he done, what they done.
And this next page is in your audit, hopefully it'll be close to page 34. When I'm looking at a comparable jurisdiction, this is the page I go to because it reflects the budget and the actual and the performance of the general fund balance. So if you look at that original budget column, you can go down at the bottom and see that when the budget was approved for FY '25, there was $492,000 budgeted for, we had a whole whole list of items.
Yep.
Throughout the year, there were things that came up that the board used fund balance to provide, and it moved it up to $711,000. But at the end of the year, we didn't use a penny of it, and we still grew $554,000. So this is again, an audit's just a snapshot, a point in time, but as you put the marker on your new fiscal year, you could say, well, we had a pretty good year.
And a really good year, because the way I see it, that's a $1.2 million swing to the fund balance.
Which is the comment I was making previously about sometimes the fund balance is just to get us budgeted.
Yeah,
Don't necessarily mean we're going to use it.
exactly.
Right.
Depending on how revenue and
Yeah,
expenses play out for the year.
because you've always been conservative on the intake of your revenue from your sales taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next two pages are the worksheet provided by the LGC. The figures that because I think, yeah, it was November. And the number that changed was expenditures, general fund expenditures, 15,864. That got us to 39.12%. You flip over, and all of a sudden your general fund expenditures are 16,478 from them. And I'm thinking, how could our general fund expenditures have grown? Well, that's when we found out it was the lease. That delta, that 613,000 is what was reflected on the office of sheriff. Again, just a little nuance.
What is the LGC recommendation of fund balance?
20, it was 20-some% when I,
They got away from the percentage. They used to always say 8%, and they come back and say, we
Because that
never
was
said
just one
8%.
month.
They said 8% when
But
the
they come
first
back and
time,
say, we've never said 8%.
the first time I took the ethics and all that training, it was 8%.
Yes.
Well,
That's-
they now have some standards based on your population and your tax base. And for a county like ours, it's probably 20 to 25%.
well, that's,
So we're
that-
still-
that's exactly, so when that question got asked, when I went to the ethics training for the first time, right? And it was 20%.
Okay.
It was not years ago.
Okay,
No, just a few years ago.
Yeah.
all right.
Well, back in 21,
22.
The next page is part of the management discussion and analysis. This is a report that William and I put together, and it shows tracking back to 2011, 2012, the amount of your fund balance, the amount of your unassigned fund balance, and your cash. I always think it's important for y'all, and this is just the general fund. When you look at all your cash with capital projects, you're up around, I think, 13 million somewhere, including lottery, or is it 10?
Might be 10,
Might be
but I
10,
thought it
okay.
was lottery in there.
But anyhow, unless she has changed her PowerPoint, the PowerPoint you see tonight won't have any numbers.
Huh?
They'll have a couple of discrepancies where we get dinged on technical things, but you won't see, again, she sent us a PowerPoint 2 weeks ago. That's what we've got loaded on the computer. I don't think we'll get anything different.
And years ago, did they used to go through the numbers?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is it expected that they go through the numbers?
I would say yes.
I think it is. In fact, in my PowerPoint, I've got some pages for the audit for the health department. And in their audit, they show bar charts and graphs so the Board of Health knows the trends that they're on for expenditures and fund balance. And just, y'all need to see some numbers.
Yeah.
I agree.
That goes back to the discussion that I've had with Emily, is like,
We need
is it time to look and see who's available and
yeah.
That's
Explore other
When
opportunities.
I was leaving BOC, we were looking for a new auditing firm, and it happened to be Holland and Jenkins that we were getting ready to bring in. So when I came over here, my first year was with them, and it was terrible the first year. And the second year wasn't much better. This year's actually been the best year
Yeah,
of
this
the
year
three.
has been a much more positive.
I think the person they have working with me now listens to me, talks to me. It's been a much better year until we get to the presentation.
Right.
Now I'm a little
Okay.
disappointed in the presentation.
And I would say, because last year I had
Any of
those,
those numbers on it?
not the one they sent ahead.
It'll be in the audit document, but not in the PowerPoint that the audience and the press.
Someone made a comment to me not too long ago that it was a good advertisement. That's to me what it is.
Well, again, we're just giving you a little.
I appreciate
Yeah, the next page is to give you another tracking for your water department. I call it fund balance, but they said I had to change it to that position. And the school capital reserve. And the school capital reserve fund was not established until they did the financing for Central Middle School. That was the most current debt. The next page you have.
How much more longer till we pay that off?
It's in the audit.
Okay.
I would say it's in the early 30s.
6 years, I think.
Okay.
I think it's 6 years left. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I looked at that and
Yeah, it could be 32 or something.
I think it was like 6 years.
I'll be able to find it for you. The next page just gives you the statement of the net position for both your landfill and your water fund. The next page, and I think I mentioned this in the prior report, landfill ran a deficit, and we may sometime soon need to be thinking about that household fee and trying to cover our costs.
All right.
Water,
38.
Oh, so much longer than I thought.
water netted out a gain of 194,000. Do you want to show them on this, the grant money that isn't, got the number right there?
Grant and contribution, $1,027,000.
Yeah. Anyhow, you will see, well, I don't have that. Anyhow, Gates County's in good shape.
These kinds of
And
very
it's been continuing, and again,
Better than it's been in a
we
long.
came in and joined a good team. I mean, many other folks have been working on this for years. I mean, this stuff doesn't just happen.
Yep.
But,
It's all right from here. If you want to know what they want.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I don't know if you want to try to explain that.
I think for the most part, the general public, they want to see where we are with the total fund balance.
Which is 8.4.
Because they hear us a lot talking about with the schools, how much that they have and the lack of. So they know that, and that's fresh on their ears, and most people understand
Well, I
that.
have this in PowerPoint,
Yeah.
and I can show you in my reports, so the public will have it on the recorder,
Yeah.
that they can go back and look at it every time.
A lot of other things get lost in the sauce with the numbers and everything,
Yeah, that's
but that number sticks out to the general public.
Yeah.
They know that, hey, something happens, we got enough money in the bank that we can handle it.
Yep.
That's all explainable.
Well, I'm glad that they gave us some time together.
That's the thing. Things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Some things will end up where we didn't think it would be. As long as it's all explainable.
Yeah.
And the bottom dollar's still there. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
You know, it just, now, explaining that to where everybody understands it.
Different beast. All right.
Especially when I'm sitting up here going, wait a minute now.
Wait a minute.
Well, at 4:45, we're supposed to have
Okay.
a box meal brought up to the little room back there.
Okay, so should we go ahead and, did you have anything else you
No,
wanted
I'm
to?
thinking I gotta go down
Y'all have
and do my little
anything?
homework. for
Okay.
the-
Sounds good, well,
Madam
Get a-
Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
all in favor? All right. We are, whoa, that was hard.
Hey, you what, girl? You got explosions inside.
Finally. Yeah.
I started to drop it, but it goes bad, and then it went down.